This is kind of like Konosuba, but with a very serious take. All four of our characters that is presented within this episode can be their own protagonists of their own light novel. And this character in particular that you see on screen right now was the character we followed first, and he was done dirty by like his father figure slash teacher, and he was told that he would never be cut out to be an adventurer slash hero, and he was just basically thrown out. And eventually he also lost his girlfriend, which is now his ex, and he went down a spiral of doom and gloom, and you could just see by his overall reaction, he's just down in the dumps, he's sad, and he's drinking his problems away. We fast forward a little bit further, we get introduced to another character. This character here can also be a protagonist. She's someone that is a very excellent mage. Someone that excels in basically mage college. She's able to do high-level spells, multi-level spells, multi-element spells. She's excellent. Like, she is an all-A student, someone that you would love to have in your class if you were a teacher that really loved magic. However, thanks to her excellence, thanks to how good she is, it resulted in her having problems to where everybody started to shun her and think, oh, all you can see is yourself, only thing you care about is yourself, you don't care about others, you're not really humble, etc. And she got outcasted, and her boyfriend or destined fiance here basically has small peepee energy, and he kind of got with this other girl, and he dumped our main female character, and it's just like, okay. And eventually, because of this and what happened to her, it led her to becoming basically a gambler, like a gambling addiction, and she lost a lot of money. And so that could be its own series entirely. Then we fast forward a little bit to the clerk. This guy right here, he is done absolutely dirty. Out of all the characters that we've been introduced to so far, he was done so dirty because this man was just a healer slash clerk. He was set up to being promoted and being someone of high status within the church, so to speak, but he was done dirty thanks to this girl being very vindictive and mean because he wouldn't accept her advances. So she started spreading lies saying he was giving her money, etc. And you could obviously understand by just this scene alone what happened to the man. He was thrown in prison, he was locked up, he lost everything. The townspeople that once respected him didn't like him anymore, they shunned him, and eventually he just went on a pilgrimage to a different town to see what he wants, to find what he wants, find friends and a lover, etc. And then we have the other character we get to, meet at the end of the episode, which is this dragon girl. We still don't know much about her, so to speak, but we know that she obviously had something stolen from her. She admits this, that something was stolen from her, and most likely thanks to the way the time constraints of the first episode was, we weren't able to really dive into her character, but most likely episode 2 will do that. But the point is that all four of these characters have a very difficult origin story. And as I already said in this video, if you were to look at these four characters, they could be the protagonist of their own series. And I think that's really cool. That's a really nice narrative because you have four strong characters that are very good in writing, that can carry a series on their own, but they work together to be able to make one cohesive story. I think that's powerful stuff, and I already like the writing of the story because of that. Now, will it stay consistent? Who knows? But let's dive into it. So, this series is basically the title. I think the title is Adventurers that has lost hope in humanity have partied up to save the world. I believe that is the title. It's quite the mouthful of a title, which normally all fantasy isekai stories are basically like that. They're quite the mouthful, and usually when you read the title, you get a good understanding of what the story is going to be about. So basically, you have our four main characters have lost their faith in humanity. They don't care about humanity. They hate humanity, but they still form a party together to save the world. And I think that's a very cool premise, honestly, that they just shun everyone else and they're just stuck in their own closed-knitted party. And this is kind of why I'm reminded a lot of Konosuba, because despite the serious nature of this episode, there is a moment to where the characters, they just start drinking and all that. Like, we see literally brief moments where they just get too much into drinking and they just start saying some funny stuff. And I'm like, it reminds me a lot of Aqua and Kazuma and all the character interactions we saw in Konosuba, but with a serious tone to it. And I think that this is cool. I actually really like this first episode. It gives us enough information about the characters that I care about them, and I want to continue watching to know what's going to happen. I don't know if this is going to be the best anime ever or the anime of the season. This might remain like a dark horse and undercover and nobody's going to care about it. Who really knows? But the point is that I really enjoyed this first episode. I think that the characters are really strong. I like the designs. The only thing that I would say is lacking within this anime would probably be the art. The art animation is definitely not the best. It doesn't look bad. Like, I want to make sure I state that. The art is not bad. The animation isn't bad, but it isn't the best either. There's definitely better I have seen, especially in recent weeks. And so when you compare it to anything that we've seen of recently, it definitely isn't the best, but it isn't bad. Now, opening song, I do want to take a few moments to talk about this opening song. I really like the opening song. Like, I legit love the opening song that we got here, showcasing the characters. It's catchy. It reminds me of a classic fantasy. It's absolutely something right up my alley and what I enjoy when I watch an anime. I love it. Now, here's the thing about this opening, too. It also gives us a nice little insight into some of the characters that we're going to eventually get introduced to. We get to see how, our characters are entering, who might be the antagonist of the story, etc., like the X here. It's a really nice opening. I don't think it gives a lot away, but it gives you some hints at maybe what to expect. Now, if there is one thing that's a little bit off to me about this, overall show, like with what I watched, I would say would be the idol aspect. Like this right here. This is very weird, and I want to point this one out, okay? So, when I first started this episode and it had this very serious tone, and I was under the impression, obviously these characters lost hope in humanity, I was like, it's going to be very serious. But then the episode kind of greets me with this idol moment right here, and I'm just like, wait, this is a fantasy world within like a medieval time or whatever, and you have idols. It's a very weird concept, and I'm going to wait and see how this is introduced and how this is done in the future episodes, but right now it's something that is so jarring and sticks out to me that I'm like, it just does not fit the overall tone of the show. And I think that there definitely needs to be a little bit more clarification or depth dived into that element than what we got. I know that, she walked out and helped him, gave him a ticket to her concert and all that when he was gloomy, but I feel like there needs to be a little bit more here to kind of explain why the hell is there idols in this world. But besides that, it's a pretty good episode. Like, if you have the time to sit down and watch anything today and you're looking for something, since, obviously there's not a lot really airing right now since a lot of anime came to an end, I recommend you giving this a shot. It's pretty good. It's on Crunchyroll apparently, so give it a shot, go watch it. But with that, be safe, stay healthy, leave me a like if you enjoyed the video. Chibi out.